And we'll begin with the Pledge of Allegiance led by Commissioner Marilyn Brown.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good morning, and welcome to Franklin County Board of Commissioners General Session on May 2nd. I would like to begin by just hoisting up my medal from the half marathon this weekend. Thank you very much. I was so thrilled to participate in my very first half marathon, and more importantly than the race for myself was really seeing Central Ohio in its most robust state, with people from all over the country, everyone locally participating. Because one of the things that you don't see on TV or in the news is on the route of the marathon, all of the people in Central Ohio who come out of their homes and sit on their porch and cheer you on. And it really says a lot about the spirit in Central Ohio, the spirit in wellness, in healthy living and lifestyles, and also competition. And we are a sports town. And the beauty about a half marathon is you really get to see the personality of Central Ohio play out to its best form. And that was the great thing about Saturday. The other thing that I just wanted to mention about it was, somewhat through the race, they had to call the race because of the weather, which I add that I finished, Commissioner Brown, before that. And so I'm so proud. Just before, literally, I crossed the line and they were like, "We're calling the race." But I think, again, it was a good call by the organizers, because there were lightning strikes. And I know for myself, around mile 10, Commissioner, you started to see the weather really come down.
Yeah.
And so I got concerned they were going to call it, and I was praying that they didn't call it. But on the other side of things, it was the right thing to do. And I'm really so glad that no one was hurt, in that we were able to shut things down in an orderly fashion and in a way that really allowed the runners to be safe, because at the end of the day, that's the most important thing. And so what a great Saturday it was. What a great experience it was. My very first, and definitely not my last. I know this also. I highly doubt that I can do a full marathon after running that one, because I thought to myself, how do those people do that full marathon? But I will say, what a great experience it was. What a great testimony to Central Ohio. And Linda, I know you were there on stage with us as we were kicking off the runners. And it was interesting because we had to do the start, and then I had to jump into the race. And I know Bruce and I, we were cracking up. He was looking at me like, "Go, jump in there." And but again, just the spirit of Central Ohio and Franklin County was in full force. Deputy sheriffs everywhere. You felt safe. You either had Columbus police officers or deputy sheriffs all along the route. But you also had restaurants who opened their doors and their patios. You had bands playing along the way. And then again, you had people just on their porches cheering you on.
Don't have to tell me, because you came up High Street in my neighborhood. So I was out there in the rain. You didn't see me, but I was there in the rain.
All you had to do was yell my name, and
I did,
and I would have waved.
See.
Yeah.
And it was raining. But it got lots worse, and I was really happy they did end up calling it, because the lightning and thunder was really bad toward the end when they did call it. But wow, what an honor for you and all those that did finish, and those that even didn't finish. What an honor just to be able to do the race.
And the last thing I'll say about it is I think it really presents us with an opportunity as a county to really think about health and wellness in Central Ohio, and ways that we can promote healthy living and healthy lifestyles, because even though some people didn't get to finish the race, they trained for a race, and they ate better, they worked out or exercised on a regular basis. And so although some of them didn't get to finish, a lot of people may have changed their lifestyle or have done things to really increase their quality of life from a health standpoint. And that's something that we ought to think about a little broader in the context of Franklin County, because I know there are parts of this county where our residents, our citizens, don't have access to gym memberships or places where they can work out on a regular basis. And so doing an event like a marathon or a 5K or even just walking and exercising on your own is a way that we can really change the mentality that Central Ohio, that commit to be fit, that we all know of, can really be a part of everyone's lifestyle. And I hope it's something that down the road we can have a deeper conversation about. So. Anybody else want to hear any more things about my marathon experience? Are you ready to do some? Okay. Fine.
No, we want to see the video.
The video, that's right. Well, that being said, let's get down to business. First up is the engineer's office.
The minute.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Wait.
I'm new at this, so I'm still a little rusty here. Is there a motion to approve the minutes from the April 6, 2016 briefing session?
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded voting. Commissioner Brown?
Yes.
Commissioner Boyce?
Yes.
The minutes have been approved.
Thank you. Next up, engineer's office.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Morning.
Morning.
The first one has a public hearing, so I'll just read the public hearing. Regarding the right-of-way hearing for establishing, alternate, and widening of Melrose Avenue and Lamont Avenue, Clinton Township, Franklin County, Ohio.
Commissioners, good morning. Dean Ringo, Franklin County Engineer.
Cornell Robertson, Chief Deputy Engineer.
Commissioners, this is a township project that we've been putting together for them, drainage project on both roads, and this public hearing is because there's a few easements that need to be acquired, and so we have the plans prepared for those.
Thank you. And just for clarification to the public, so easements in what you're referring to are right-of-way areas that will serve a public purpose of some way.
That is correct, and it's for the drainage, underground drainage improvements that, tiles and pipes need to be put in.
Excellent. It's my understanding that because it's a public hearing, at this time we can ask for public speakers. Is there anyone here that would like to comment or speak on the right-of-way hearing that was just recorded? No? There are no speakers. That concludes the hearing. And move to adopt the...
I'll read it.
Oh, you can read it. Go ahead. You may proceed.
Yeah. Resolution number 304-17, right-of-way hearing for establishing, alternate, and widening of Melrose Avenue and Lamont Avenue, Clinton Township, Franklin County, Ohio.
Commissioners, again, the plans have been prepared for this, and again, it's on behalf of the township to improve the drainage along both roadways.
I'll move approval.
Second.
Moved and seconded voting. Commissioner Brown?
Yes.
Commissioner Boyce?
Yes.
Resolution number 304-17 has been adopted. Resolution number 305-17, resolution authorizing participation in the Ohio Department of Transportation winter contract for road salt, Franklin County, Ohio.
Well, Commissioners, we think of snow in the summer and we think of road projects in the winter, but it goes all around. But we are looking ahead to the next winter season, anticipating that we will probably need some salt. So we have been cooperating with the ODOT department on cooperative salt purchases, and this is allowing us to participate with them for this coming season.
Move approval of 305-17.
Second.
Moved and seconded voting. Commissioner Brown?
Yes.
Commissioner Boyce?
Yes.
Resolution number 305-17 has been adopted. Resolution number 306-17, plans approved for the improvement of Hendron Road from Groveport Road, Main Street to Cherry Blossom Drive, Madison Township, Franklin County, Ohio.
Commissioners, as stated, this capital improvement project is in the southeast part of the county in Madison Township along Hendron Road north of Groveport Road. This is a coordinated project including Franklin County and the city of Groveport. With this resolution, we are asking you to approve and sign the construction plans as well as the cooperative agreement with Groveport.
Move approval of resolution 306-17.
Second.
Moved and seconded voting. Commissioner Brown?
Yes.
Commissioner Boyce?
Yes.
Resolution number 306-17 has been adopted. Resolution number 307-17, petition filed for vacation of a portion of North High Street, Prairie Township, Franklin County, Ohio.
Commissioners, this resolution is the second in a series of 3 for right-of-way vacation. This is a section of unimproved right-of-way, and this is the North High Street in Galloway, not in downtown Columbus. And so we know of no opposition at this point, and this resolution sets the final hearing for May 16th at 9 a.m.
Move approval of 30717.
Second.
Moved and second in voting, Commissioner Brown,
Yes.
Commissioner Boyce.
Yes.
Resolution number 307-17 has been adopted. Resolution number 308-17, resolution authorizing the settlement of legal claims brought in Franklin County Common Pleas case number 16 CV 9248, resulting from an auto accident involving Franklin County Engineers Office in the amount of $12,500.
Commissioners, we did have an auto accident with one of our employees, and through negotiations, and with the help of the prosecutor's office, we've reached what I think is a very fair settlement, and so we'd recommend this for your approval.
Move approval of 30817.
Second.
Moved and second in voting, Commissioner Brown,
Yes.
Commissioner Boyce.
Yes.
Resolution number 308-17 has been adopted.
Great. Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much.
Thank you.
Next up, we have the Sheriff's Office.
Resolution number 309-17, resolution authorizing a contract for bread and bakery products for the Franklin County Correctional Facilities in the amount of $177,621.02.
Good morning, Commissioners. Dave Masterson, Director of Administrative Services for Sheriff Dallas Baldwin. And this resolution authorizes a 1-year contract through May 2nd of next year with Schwabel Baking Company to supply the jails with needed bread products for meal prep. All bread items have a firm and fixed price through the contract expiration and are part of the certified menu. It was competitively bid in accordance with Ohio Revised Code Section 307.86. And pending any questions, ask approval of this resolution.
Move approval of 30917.
Second.
Moved and second in voting, Commissioner Brown,
Yes.
Commissioner Boyce.
Yes.
Resolution number 309-17 has been adopted.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, Jobs and Family Services.
Resolution number 310-17, resolution authorizing the county administrator to submit, sign for, and approve all documents and partnerships related to the submission of a grant application to the Robert Woods Johnson Foundation's Forward Promise Empowerment Projects Initiative.
Good afternoon, or good morning, Commissioners. Charles Noble, and I want
It isn't going that fast.
You got started quick. Charles Noble, Chief Strategy Officer, Franklin County Job and Family Services. So I'm going to read a resolution today outlining some of the grants that we're going to be looking to apply to. So since 2011, the Robert Woods Johnson Foundation has worked through a broad set of investments collectively called the Forward Promise to expand the potential for boys and young men of color to grow up healthy, obtain a high-quality education, and find meaningful employment. Through work with previous Forward Promise grantees, as well as others in the boys and young men of color field, it has become clear that systemic and historical trauma play a significant role in the health and challenges of this population, and that addressing these traumas will require a focused investment. Whereas the Forward Promise Empowerment Projects Initiative seeks to elevate solutions and strategies that provide culturally relevant and evidence-supported responses to trauma for boys and men of color ages 12 to 24, while promoting opportunities for them to heal, grow, and thrive. The Robert Wood Johnson Foundation is interested in both approaches that promote individual healing and those that take a structural approach to change policies and practices that are causes of trauma for entire groups of this population. By elevating these strategies, Forward Promise hopes to advance a broader understanding of trauma and healing that recognizes and leverages the unique histories, cultures, and lived experiences of these folks. And whereas, through this solicitation, Empowerment Projects will support up to 9 organizations to strengthen their capacity to provide programming for and with boys and young men of color, enhance their ability to use data and research to improve programming and sustainability, and increase their ability to influence community policy and practice in support of culturally responsive, trauma-informed, and healing-promoting strategies to positively impact the health of this population. Up to 6 organizations will receive up to $450,000 in total over 2 years, while 3 organizations will receive a grant of up to $150,000 in 2 years. And whereas the Franklin County Department of Job and Family Services are seeking approval to partner with the City of Columbus to submit a grant application for this funding, and if awarded, implement the grant as proposed. The proposal seeks to expand the programming, data collection, and impact of Franklin County's I Am My Brother's Keeper program. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Board of Commissioners, Franklin County, Ohio, that consistent with the provisions of Ohio Revised Code Section 305.30, the County Administrator is authorized to enter into partnership with the City of Columbus for the submission and implementation of grant application program to the Robert Wood Johnson Foundation Promise Empowerment Project Initiative, consistent with this resolution. That was a mouthful. Pending any questions, I ask for approval of this resolution.
Yeah, first of all, I'd like to say I really appreciate the work that we're doing with the Robert Woods Johnson Foundation. They produce a report, I believe it's on an annual basis, that really, I think, highlights some of the statistical challenges that we have in America with regards to African American males. And the more important part about that is how communities can use that data to begin program work or to align budgetary strategies and whatnot to really work through some of those challenges. And myself, along with my colleagues, County Commissioner Brown and O'Grady, will be partnering with the City of Columbus to continue the work we're doing with My Brother's Keeper along the same lines of really working to peel back the layers and find pathways to success for this vulnerable demographic. And, you know, again, I just can't emphasize how critical this work is and the difference it makes. You know, there's a saying that goes, a rising tide lifts all boats. And so we really have to think of it in that way. And I'm not going to get into all the statistics that I know by heart at this point around African American males, but I can at least say this, that in nearly every category, African American males are at the bottom rung of those categories in terms of success. And if we don't invest in a strategy to begin to turn that around, there is an effect economically and socially on our community that we'll never recover from. And so we're beginning to think about that. We appreciate your leadership and Jobs and Family Services, the direction and strategy that and work that you're putting into this work, because it is critical in terms of the real performance of Franklin County and Central Ohio altogether. So thank you for bringing this resolution forward. Commissioner Brown, did you have something to add?
I don't have anything more relevant to say than that, so I will move approval of 31017, and thank you for bringing this forward.
Thank you for your leadership. I think without the Board of Commissioners, without the County Administrator, I think that, you know, the emphasis on this vulnerable population wouldn't be as supported as it is. And so we'd like to thank the Board of Commissioners and our County Administration for supporting this.
Thank you. Second.
Moved and second in voting. Commissioner Brown?
Yes.
Commissioner Boyce?
Yes.
Resolution number 310-17 has been adopted.
Next, we have Economic Development and Planning. And we also will have guests here for Economic Development and Planning. And so I'd ask Brian Ross to come forward as our Economic Development and Planning folks come forward as well.
Resolution number 311-17, resolution authorizing an economic development agreement with the Greater Columbus Convention and Visitors Bureau to promote Franklin County as a tourism destination in the amount of $2,025,000.
Good morning, Commissioners. Jenny Snap, Assistant Director, Franklin County Economic Development and Planning, joined this morning by Josh Roth, our Senior Program Officer with our Economic Development Division. First of all, Josh is going to walk you through each resolution and then introduce the guests, but I did want to correct that it is actually Michael Brown here who's representing Experience Columbus. Thank you.
You don't look like Brian Ross. You really don't. It's the hair.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Good morning.
Today we're going to have 4 resolutions to present to you that will authorize 2017 contracts with our 4 annual partners. And the first of those is Experience Columbus in the amount of $2,025,000 for the Greater Columbus Convention and Visitors Bureau, also known as Experience Columbus. And it is their mission to promote a Columbus region to the world, and does so by promoting tourism, but also attracting conventions and providing visitor services throughout Central Ohio. And a key stat I think that's important from their activities in 2016 was that the bed tax generated a record $44.5 million, which is a 4.3% increase over 2015. And visitor volume grew to 39.3 million in 2015, up from 37.9 million in 14, generating $6.4 billion in direct visitor spending, which I think clearly demonstrates how important tourism is to our retail, lodging, and transportation sectors.
And sales tax
Yes,
generated.
also an important component to the sales tax and bed tax for the county and our municipal partners.
Yeah, please, Mike.
Commissioner Boyce, Commissioner Brown, thank you very much. County Prosecutor O'Brien, Ken Wilson, who serves on one of our boards, and I saw Eric Janis in the room also, who serves on our boards. Thank you for your service and partnership with our organization. On behalf of Brian Ross, the staff, Linda will come up in a minute and talk about sports as well. You know that we're in an era of unprecedented collaboration, and things are really moving forward. We appreciate all the work. Good morning, Commission President O'Grady. The team is here today kind of to give our annual update and to thank you for this contract, our commitment to work together. But this is a sector of the economy that's growing, and it's growing at a very steady pace, and it wouldn't be happening without the partnership of the City of Columbus and Franklin County. We thank you for the support, because at the end of the day, this is about jobs. It's about bringing in guests, but they support 1 in 12 jobs in Franklin County. Those 39 million visitors come here and spend a direct spending of $6.4 billion every year. That is how we're driving forward not only the bed tax growth, but also the sales tax growth, the health of our restaurant community, our hotel community, and all the facilities that are owned by public and private partners in this area. We need to keep them in use. We have to stay at as high a capacity level as possible. And the benefits touch many throughout the community. 2016 was a great year, another year of growth. We've mentioned the bed tax up to $44.5 million, which I would say 5 years ago, when we were at about $33 million, was seen as a very high bar that we hope to reach in our long-term aspirational plans. But this also means more dollars for arts and culture through the funding that goes to GCAC, the funding that goes to the Affordable Housing Trust Fund, which is a partnership of the city and county, the funding that goes to the Franklin County Convention Facilities Authority, which has been our partner since the beginning, but manages our convention center, which is going under a great renovation and about to reopen. This growth has happened while it was under construction, while we were building new garages, while we had hard hats throughout that building. And that's one of the reasons that we're very optimistic about the future and how we can use these resources to further grow our work. A few things that I think you are very interested in are NACO and ASAE. So I want to specifically thank the commissioners for the help on those two projects, getting them to choose our market for their big events, but also partnering with us on how we put on the events, how we welcome guests to our community, and making sure that commissioners are there in person. We really appreciate that personal touch, because it makes those events that much more meaningful. And when those international and national thought leaders come here, they leave knowing that this community has its work together. Overall, we're also at an all-time high for members. As you know, we're a membership organization. We now have 1,100 members, small businesses to large businesses, working with us every day to grow this sector of the economy. We couldn't do it without you. And as we continue to grow programs like our Certified Tourism Ambassador program and more, we will stay in touch on a regular basis and make sure that we're trying to deliver the best high-quality service that you guys expect.
I think what we're doing in funding all of these entities that we're going to be talking about today, including Experience Columbus, which adds to our sales tax base, is wonderful on its face. But what it allows us to do with that additional sales tax coming in is fund our social service safety net, which is our mandated service, and the safety of our community. So that too is a benefit to what you all are doing. And it's just incredible. And as for the convention center, as I go in there every once in a while, it's just every time I'm in there, it's different and better. And I can't wait till the unveiling of the entirety of it. Yeah, it's just incredible.
We just did the cafe, and we're about to do some of the art stuff.
I know, I'll be
Wednesday
there.
night, we'll be there.
I will be there, yeah. I mean, it's just unbelievable what's going on in our community right now with what's happening with arts and tourism and sports and everything else we're doing, yeah.
I just said that as someone who's born and raised, grew up in this city, and have seen the evolution of Central Ohio altogether, it's amazing to see how Central Ohio has even grown in the last 5 years. In the last 10 years, it's been amazing, and you get to promote that growth. You get to facilitate and accommodate that growth, and I just think you all do a wonderful job of it. I can't think of anyone who wouldn't take the ratio of investing $2 million and getting back nearly $50 million, plus all of the sales tax revenue that is almost immeasurable. And so what a great ratio, what a great investment and return on our investment this is, and looking forward to continuing that relationship and seeing the great things that you all do to bring people into our community, into Central Ohio, so they can experience what we get to experience every day.
You know, it's fortunate that we have our friends from the building trade sitting in the back of the room. We have, we've been talking about it recently. We have so much construction going on in the Dublin area, so much construction going on in the Hilliard area, Grove City, all that's going on down in Grove City. It's amazing what's happening here in downtown Columbus, Upper Arlington, Grandview, what's happening in Canal Winchester, Gahanna. There's so much going on throughout this community. We just had a conversation with the newspaper a couple of weeks ago. They're doing a story here in June about several part series in June about what this community is going to look like in the next 20 years, based on the fact that the projections are that the population of Central Ohio is going to increase so dramatically over the coming decades. And so, one of the comments I made was, look at all the construction, all the growth that's going on now, what's happening and the boom that's going on now, and all the construction that our friends in the trades are doing now. If that's what's happening now, and the projection for the growth is what it is, and our friends from Columbus 2020 that are building all the jobs of the future are sitting here in the front of the room, what's it going to look like in this community in the future? And so what you guys are doing, what our folks from 2020 are doing, by the way, Kenny, we have to have jobs for all those people that are coming here. So while you're putting together all the jobs now, yeah, sit down, pal. While you're putting together all the jobs now, we have to have jobs for those folks that are coming in the future. So this doesn't stop anytime soon. And we have to be able to provide, as Marilyn says, we, and this board knows, we have to continue, in the conversation we had with the newspaper that day, Ken, we have to continue to be able to plan for and provide for the social services for that group going into the future. When we think about what Children's Hospital is doing and the things that they're building for, I mean, and so as we stand here, and you're the first resolution, as you stand here and we talk about the first resolution as it relates to economic development this morning, and what we're talking about. I mean, this is just an example of the, as I always say, the hand in glove, approach to economic development that we take around here, because economic development provides for the stability and the basis for what is one of the core principles of what we do, which is to provide for the social services for our community. And without us investing in our economy and investing in our community and the growth of our community and the jobs and the future of our community, we won't be able to provide for those that are the least amongst us and those that are the most in need. If we don't provide for those that are the least amongst us and those that are the most in need, the future growth of this community doesn't continue to happen, because business doesn't continue to come here, continue to grow, and continue to expand in this community if we don't do that. So it's all interconnected and interwoven. And if we don't continue to invest in the arts, and if we don't continue to invest in tourism, I'm having a conversation later today with some of the folks from the radio station to talk about our investments in sports and what we've done over the years to invest in sports and what we want to continue to do in the future to invest in sports. And I have another conversation next week with another radio station. I have the same conversation. It's all connected together, and so it's great to have you guys here this morning as we continue to do this stuff and have a conversation with the rest of these folks this morning on the same topic. So.
We are humbled by the support.
Thank
and
you.
are absolutely right in that we cannot do it together. We are meeting weekly with partnership team members, even Dorsey and the trades and the folks there. We have some of our best people here from the Sports Commission, and Carol Allerding is our events director. We do more than 600 groups a year, and we help organize ourselves 60 events a year. And that's just how we help rally, both here and nationally, folks to visit. But in February, front page of the travel section of the Washington Post, just another example of how this works. When we work together, we can get these great results that then bring in more and more revenue and partners. And it's really working right now when we all work together.
We were in Washington when that hit, so it was good to see. And we appreciate you bringing up NACO this morning. We haven't even discussed that, but the National Association of Counties is coming this summer in July, and we can't wait to show off this community to 3,000 county commissioners and corporate leaders from around the country, and we can't wait for them to get here. So we're looking forward to it.
I'm going to move approval of Resolution 31117.
Second.
Moved and second in voting. Commissioner Brown,
Yes.
Commissioner Boyce,
Yes.
Commissioner O'Grady.
Yes.
Resolution number 311-17 has been adopted. Resolution number 312-17, resolution authorizing an economic development agreement with the Greater Columbus Sports Commission to encourage economic development and tourism through the attraction, retention, and promotion of sporting events on behalf of the Franklin County Board of Commissioners in the amount of $200,000.
Good morning, Commissioners. Our second annual partner contract is in the amount of $200,000 with the Greater Columbus Sports Commission, which is a division of Experience Columbus and works to attract, host a wide variety of sporting events in Central Ohio. Since 2002, the Sports Commission has bid on and brought in 386 new sporting events to the region and generated close to $402 million in visitor spending, which is on top of all of the events that they work to retain each year. And we do have Linda Logan to offer some testimony and answer any questions you might have.
Good morning. Thanks for preparing all of that. And Commissioners, County Administrator Wilson, one of our board members, Prosecutor O'Brien, and some of our great colleagues and staff here today. So as Mike Brown mentioned, laying the groundwork of a tremendous year in 2016, we finished with hosting our biggest event, a risk taker to date was the NCAA Women's Volleyball Championships that netted us the second largest attendance ever of 17,435 tickets on third week of December, a typical slow time for our hotels with about $10 million worth of visitor spending. We also, as mentioned earlier, have had a great first quarter of room nights already booked and some great events hosted. I know that our bed taxes are already up year to date, I think several %, so that bodes well for all of us here. We just had a great weekend talking about the Cap City Half Marathon with USA Track and Field hosted their championships in addition to that race. We have the NCAA Men's Volleyball Championships this week that start tonight at St. John Arena. Ohio State is the #1 seed. And then some big announcements just happening most recently. Ken Schnocky and the Clippers, of course, awarded the Minor League Baseball All-Star Game and the championship game, so 2 big events for 2018. And then we got great news on April the 18th that Columbus was awarded 12 NCAA championships through the years 2019 through 2022. We're already on the clock for the women's Final Four. We're less than 11 months to go on that big event, so I know there's a lot of work to do. We talked about ASAE, a big booking for the future for the team. NACO's coming up this summer, which it takes a village, right, to host these big events in the communities.
5 years we've been putting this thing together. So.
People don't realize how what the length of time is often for the bidding process, but
2012.
We're very proud to be hosting these big events. The Make It Columbus initiatives, you all are a perfect example of being a host for your big national convention. So again, we're all very proud to be standing here today and looking forward to even a bigger year this year. So thanks to everyone.
Well, Linda, this weekend they just hosted the NFL draft in Philadelphia, and they had 70,000 people in downtown Philadelphia, and it was outside and the weather was fantastic, and they were out it was the Rocky Steps of the Museum of Art in Philadelphia, and all these crazy people. I mean, it was nuts. It was huge boon for the city of Philadelphia. And yesterday on the radio show that I actually am going to meet with the guy today to talk to, they were talking about, well, Columbus should do this. They should do it in the shoe, and we could really actually host it here. And I know we don't have an NFL team, but we could actually host this here. Well, this is. And I know Mr. Brown knows this story, but this is kind of, there are NFL roots right here in the city of Columbus. Mr. Carr had the NFL headquarters here for the longest time back in the 1920s and 30s. So there's an argument to be made. So I think you guys should go after hosting
Put that
the
on our
NFL
wish
draft. Put that on your list.
Put that on the wish
I mean,
list.
if we're not going to get the NCAA wrestling tournament here, shift gears and go there.
There you go.
I move approval of 3/12/17.
I thought you were going to move approval of the
No.
NFL draft being in Columbus.
Thank you, Commissioner Brown.
Second.
Moved in second in voting, Commissioner Brown,
Yes.
Commissioner Boyce,
Yes.
Commissioner O'Grady.
Yes.
Resolution number 312-17 has been adopted.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Resolution number 313-17, resolution authorizing an economic development agreement with Rev One Ventures for support of the Entrepreneurial Signature Program in the amount of $300,000.
Good morning, Commissioners. This is our third annual partner contract for the morning. This is for $300,000 with Rev One Ventures, which is a venture development organization and operates a tech incubator and provides coaching and mentoring services to tech startups to help them identify markets, sell their products, and attract investment. In 2016, Rev One reported that they invested in 25 companies and 27 different startups. Their portfolio companies raised $41 million in capital from investors. And as a result of the startup investments and all of the growth of their portfolio companies, they've generated $86 million in revenue and created 1,014 jobs. And we have Christy Kimball and Wayne Embry here from Rev One to offer some testimony today.
Great. Good morning, Commissioners. Thank you for having us. I want to introduce my colleague Wayne Embry again. He heads up venture acceleration and investments for Rev One, and also we have Charles Hill, who heads up our community outreach efforts. And thank you again for your continued support. As Josh mentioned, with your support, we've been able to, in a very short period of time, become one of the most active and growing startup regions in the U.S. In fact, we're often looked to as a model for being able to really pull together those assets and support companies. And really, we're very, very focused on identifying the highest growth companies and really providing them a kind of a 1-2 punch of services and funding. And in front of you probably have our most recent impact report, which is really just hot off the presses. And that details the most important thing we see, which is the impact to the companies that are growing in our region. As you know, startups create majority of the net new jobs, and so to be able to see them growing and generating revenue and attracting customers and really creating great jobs for our region. For example, if you look at just last year alone, the average salary for the companies that we have in their jobs is $84,000. So we're really helping these companies to create some amazing jobs. And if you look at the longer trajectory of the work that we've been able to do, build a team that can help to outreach and identify companies and put to that capital to use, just in 3 years, we've been able to invest in 70 companies. We brought another $70 million in new capital to the region. Just last year alone, about $33 million in new capital. And this is a really, really important aspect of what we do, because the more companies you start, the more companies are going to need funding, not just at the earliest stages, but as they continue to grow and really achieve those milestones. One of the things I want to call out that's, I think, really special about the work we've been doing in the last year and supported by Wayne and Charles' teams is really helping to identify underserved populations that have, an interest in entrepreneurship. And we all know that companies and organizations with diverse leaders and diverse mentors and advisors are more successful. So we put in place a very partner-focused program to help connect our companies with more diverse leadership and to help connect them with mentors as well. So if you look at last year alone, about 32% of the companies that we invested in had a woman, minority, or veteran founder or leader of the organization. And while that's nowhere near where we would like it to be, we also know that for our area and for even the venture industry, that's 8 to 10 times what you're seeing. And so we know that we have all the ingredients here to continue to grow that. So thank you again, and we're happy to take questions about what we're doing or even the companies that we're supporting.
Christy, I think what you've done in changing the trajectory of what this organization has been, it's just incredible over the years how this organization has grown and changed, and it's impressive. What I would ask is, are we able to take advantage of some of the entrepreneurs that you now are funding and have some of our folks that are looking for positions that are not yet in the workforce because of barriers that they've faced, able to come and shadow and be mentored by your entrepreneurs? Those that are seeking to get into the workforce, that are getting benefits from our Job and Family Services Department, and our director is here, Joy Bivens, and her team is here and ready with people who really want to work and are not able to find work.
Yes, I think that's an area we can continue to explore further. We'd love to have that conversation. We're, as I mentioned, spending a lot of time helping to identify partners like that have programming that can help to really bridge the gap. So if you look at the companies that we're funding, one of the biggest challenges they have is that tech developer,
Sure,
IT talent. And so, I can actually let Charles give an example of a couple of the partnerships that we forged in the last year to help address that.
that's great.
Thank you. So we have a great partnership that we have with a group called IC Stars. That's the first chapter that was expanded from Chicago, and it serves the underserved companies that we have there. We just had a tech summit last week that talked about that. We have 15 people in the current cohort, and it teaches them background development, software opportunities and stuff like that, and actually project managers. IGS is the sponsor for that program, and they actually gave an opportunity for these cohorts, interns, what we call them,
Right.
to be able to get some background training on stuff like that and potentially be able to get them placed in jobs. We have another partnership with Tech Elevator, which is also housed in our building there, which actually teaches developers in about 14 weeks how to get up to speed on all the stuff that they have going for them developing and stuff like that.
Good to know, and it would be nice to connect up with our department director and her team, because we do have a lot of people who would love to get into this field of high-tech jobs but don't have the skills, and we would love to connect up.
That's a big thing that we see out in the community. I would love to have the conversation. Our team would love to have a conversation, and we have a lot of resources out there in the community too to be able to talk about that.
As do we at the county. We've got a program that can help fund some of the training, and we would love to have that conversation.
Definitely open to it. I'll be here if you want to pass on our information to be able to do that.
Wonderful.
So we had a conversation yesterday with, and so Jim Shimmer from our shop will be probably reaching out to you guys about the possibility of a conversation regarding a connection between us and you guys, and potentially Herzliya, Israel, our sister city in Israel, possibility of a conversation about an exchange and maybe a trip. So
we look forward to hearing about that.
They have a big high-tech community in Herzliya, and so early September potentially. So Jim's going to reach out and talk to you guys. We just had this conversation yesterday. So.
Okay. And I urge you at your earliest convenience to take some time, commissioners, to come over and meet with some of the companies.
Right.
You can hear a little bit about their stories in the impact report, but it's fascinating, right? We're talking about some of the most passionate entrepreneurs who are really spending a lot of time building some of what we think will be some of the most well-known companies in our region.
Terrific what you do.
I've done it. Just been a while, so yeah.
Please do.
Thank you.
Well, thank you again for your support.
Great.
I move approval of Resolution 31317.
Second.
Moved and second in voting. Commissioner Brown,
Yes.
Commissioner Boyce,
Abstain.
Commissioner O'Grady.
Yes.
Resolution number 313-17 has been adopted. Resolution number 314-17, resolution authorizing an economic development agreement with Columbus 2020 to conduct economic development activities on behalf of the Franklin County Board of Commissioners in the amount of $1 million.
Commissioners, last but not least, we have our final contract for today. It's $1 million with Columbus 2020, which is, as you know, is an 11-county regional economic development organization as part of the Jobs Ohio network. And they work in collaboration with state and local partners to offer comprehensive business attraction and expansion services to companies that are evaluating Franklin County and the surrounding region. Regarding performance on the 2016 partner contract, Columbus 2020 announced 61 attraction and expansion projects with a total job commitment of 3,689 and a payroll commitment of about $150 million. And we have Mr. Kenny McDonald here to offer some testimony.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
I'm okay with making Kenny wait a little bit longer.
Yeah, absolutely.
He made me go to Alaska. I can
That's
make
right.
Make him wait a little bit.
Well, first, I'll just say thank you to the administration and the commissioners for both consistent and significant support for the entire 6.5 years we've been on this journey. Commissioner Brown, thank you for your service on our board. That's critically important to stay really close in this exciting but fairly turbulent time in our economy. And I wanted to do a few things today. One, I also would like to thank all of our colleagues here. Without all of their support and the things that they do, we wouldn't have such a terrific community to go around the world and market. And every year, I'm actually kind of amazed to come to this meeting, and it keeps getting ratcheted up in terms of the positive reports and the economic impact across all of the organizations. So I wanted to maybe take just a moment, and we did an impact analysis for our last 6 years at Columbus 2020, and I just wanted to kind of talk about the scale of what we've accomplished together. We've done over 650 projects, or we've helped about 650 companies either expand inside of our 11 counties, and we've relocated nearly 200 companies to our region over that period of time. And the output of that generated in economic development activities is accounted for 2/3 of our regional GDP. So it has an enormous impact across our 11-county area, and including here in Franklin County. The economic development activities supported $10.5 billion of consumer spending. And for every dollar invested by our private sector partners, there's 300 strong now, and our public partners like Franklin County, over $471 has been returned for every dollar invested. So as Commissioner Boyce was saying, these are excellent investments, and the return is in some cases immediate, but the bigger purpose is that it's a longer-term investment. I wanted to talk a little bit and build on what your team has alluded to. We did 61 projects inside of Franklin County last year, nearly 4,000 new jobs, nearly $150 million of payroll, and the capital investment exceeded $665 million last year just with the projects inside of Franklin County. And we probably have another, we have millions of other dollars invested around our region, making the core even stronger. And then finally, I wanted to maybe just speak to a few things on the ground this year. So we've gotten an incredible start within the first quarter to 2017. We have 165 opportunities, some of really the biggest pipeline we've ever had of activity. And I think that mirrors and is reflected in the kind of work that Rev 1 is doing. We also invest in Rev 1 and are meeting with them weekly. We're investing together with Experience Columbus at the airport. When you fly in, you now know you're in Columbus, Ohio, and Franklin County, and you know the companies that are headquartered here when you walk through the terminal because of some of that work. We continue to have big opportunities. So over 36 of our projects right now have over 200 people associated with them. Half of those projects would be companies in our own region looking to reinvest and add jobs and build on what they've already invested here. And the other half are brand new companies that are coming into our region. and many of those well exceed 200 jobs. So we have big opportunities in the future. We have an intense focus in listening to our customers this year. It is a disruptive time. I can't think of an industry, including the public sector, that isn't changing the way it does business. And I think our approach to that as a community is that we want to be the disruptors. And I would be remiss if I didn't speak to the great value of your investments in the Smart Cities effort across Franklin County and even in our region, which is bringing so much attention, including your investments to have Dean Ringel's team and some of the county staff actually join our team in the Netherlands and just get perspective on what's being built in competitor regions around the world, like in Amsterdam and Eindhoven. We continue to have companies come every week to look at our region that we wouldn't have had looking and putting their feet on the ground in our soil, but for the investments in the Smart Cities effort. And it's going to lead us to a pretty exciting future. In fact, if we don't embrace it, I think it'll overtake us. And so our investments are critically important. I'll just end by saying again, thank you. We have unprecedented scale of opportunities. It's going to require that we continue to train and maybe push ourselves beyond our boundaries, including in infrastructure and particularly in the workforce arena, to meet the challenges. We probably have more great career opportunities in our region than we've ever had, but connecting the dots so that we fully take advantage of those opportunities here is absolutely critical and on our mind every day as we do our work. So thank you very much for your consistent, significant, passionate support of what we do in economic development.
Kenny, thank you for the work that you all are doing. You know, I think most folks have heard me talk at one point or another about the fact that I've got a high school senior that we'll send off to college, and happens to be that he's going to college in Rhode Island. And one of the beauties about the conversation in our home is knowing that he has a place to come back to, where once he graduates from college, there are going to be endless opportunities for him right here in Central Ohio. And as my wife and I are grappling with the fact of sending him away for 4 years to college and what that's going to be like, there's a lot of comfort in knowing that he can come back to a place and have a lot of options from a career standpoint to be a part of it. I really attribute that to some of the work that you all are doing. You mentioned one other thing that I think is unique, and you talked about with Dean Ringel and the bridges and that kind of thing, and going to see in the Netherlands what they're doing, the type of projects. This kind of work is so critical in building an international personality for Central Ohio. And it defines us. When you look at any picture of our skyline, or when you look at brochures of Central Ohio, it's the things like bridges and waterways and parks and facilities that really make us unique. Almost as unique as we are different as people, that's what makes communities unique, are those kinds of things. And so I'm really glad that you all understand that from an economic development standpoint and are connecting the dots and the pieces. And I just think that's so strategic. And so thank you for your leadership and work. This is another great return on our investment. Easily said, and easily you can show the value to our citizens in terms of the money that they have entitled us with to really create a community that they can thrive in, that their quality of life can be strong in. And that's really attributed directly to some of the work you're doing. So thank you. Thank you, leadership. Oh, move for passage.
Second.
Moved and second in voting. Commissioner Boyce?
Yes.
Commissioner Brown?
Abstain.
Commissioner O'Grady?
Yes.
Resolution number 314-17 has been adopted.
Thanks, Kenny.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Thank you.
Purchasing Department.
Resolution number 315-17, resolution approving purchases for various Franklin County agencies in the amount of $277,761.20.
Good morning, Commissioners. Carl Cuspert, representing the Purchasing Department. The resolution before you requests for approval of 59 purchase orders. These purchase orders have been pre-certified as availability funded by the county auditor. If any questions, I recommend their approval.
Move approval of 315-17.
Second.
Moved and second in voting. Commissioner Brown?
Yes.
Commissioner Boyce?
Yes.
Commissioner O'Grady?
Yes.
Resolution number 315-17 has been adopted.
Thank you for voting today.
Yes, ma'am.
It is election day, everybody.
Carl.
Yes, I voted. Lost my sticker, but I did vote this morning. Where it went.
I voted, I was number 6 at my voting booth this morning.
I was
You
22.
better turn out.
I know, I was 22, and it was, no one was coming in
I
after
voted
me.
in the township, thankfully. In the city, it was higher.
The
22
was like...
Yeah. All right, Board of Commissioners.
Resolution number 316-17, resolution approving a memorandum of understanding between the Franklin County Board of Commissioners and the Columbus Central Ohio Building and Construction Trades Council concerning the new Correction Center project.
Good morning, Commissioners. Chris Long, Deputy Administrator. As you know, we're in the process of constructing a new correctional facility at Fisher Road. And as part of that, it's always prudent to establish effective and binding methods for settlement of misunderstandings regarding labor issues that might arise and interruptions with work that could be prohibited, and concurrently working together with the trades to ensure that Franklin County residents, including low-income and underrepresented folks, have as many employment opportunities as is possible on this project. This comes on the heels of a very successful memorandum of understanding for the Hall of Justice, HOJ, now called the Judicial Services Building, which I still struggle with. But that was an excellent example of how this kind of memorandum of understanding can work very successfully on a project of this size and scale. I want to thank Keena Smith for making this document even better than the 2013 document was in terms of the outreach efforts and really where we see this heading, and certainly a hand-in-hand working relationship with Dorsey Hager and Walt Workman and the trades on this project, including ongoing consultation and approval by the Prosecuting Attorney's Office to get this before you today. So we're very pleased, pending any questions, to present to you the Memorandum of Understanding for the Correctional Facility with the Trades Council. I know Dorsey Hager and others are in the audience as well, and happy to answer any questions.
You know, a few years back when we did the first memorandum of understanding on the Hall of Justice, now the Judicial Services Building, it was on chartered waters. We hadn't done it before. There was, some concern and worry that, but it turned out to be a fantastic thing. Made that project better. Not only was it on time, it came in under budget. We were able to invest some of those savings back into the project to make it an even better finalized project. That building is tremendous because of the work, I think, as a direct result of the MOU that we did on that project. So we looked at this and in consultation with our friends in the trades, but also because of the success of that project, we looked at this and have pointed towards this project, this jail construction project, as the next opportunity. This doesn't guarantee that we're going to do this on every project in the future. It's something that we've always said we would look at on a project-by-project basis, but this was one that we definitely wanted to consider and wanted to look at. I want to thank the prosecutor and his staff for all of their help in putting this together and helping us.
Absolutely.
All the work that went into doing this and doing it correctly. Certainly the quality contracting standards that Franklin County has have also been helpful over the years, and the work that the staff has done over the years and the prosecutors done over the years in helping us to put those together. I think that this stuff, these standards, this memorandum, this stuff has been stuff that has helped us to have fantastic quality work, quality projects, things that have continued to help us over the years to be able to put out some really good stuff. And so I think it leads to a great example of some great work and great collaboration. So thank you for everything.
If I could just add too, I think definitely well said, Commissioner O'Grady. I just said that when you look at the volume and the use of a facility like our jail, quality becomes critical. And how we build a facility like that to stand the test of time and to stand the rigor that it has to go through on a day-to-day basis. And so I think this partnership is really reflective of our investment in ensuring that facility will stand the test of time and will be a resource, not just in terms of incarceration, but many things beyond that in terms of serving our community. So really appreciate the relationship with our partners in labor, and very enthusiastically support this resolution.
It's a multi-generational facility, you're correct.
Yeah.
Well,
We have to do it right.
and it also should be more than the incarceration, should be a place where people can get the other services to reintegrate into the community. But the safety of that facility is critically important, and how it's built is critically important. And I appreciate the conversations we've had with labor and the small and emerging business community. As we put this together, it's only made it richer and better. So I think this memorandum of understanding is a far better one than we had on the first project we did it. And I don't know if anybody has anything to say. Dorsey, did you have anything you wanted to say?
I just wanted to say that we really appreciate that.
Come on up. While Dorsey's coming up, one of the things I wanted to add, one of the things I wanted to add to this is, we probably have a conversation, a community-wide conversation coming up here, because I think the community needs to understand that we're not building a prison here. There's a big difference between a county jail and the services provided in a county jail and what it means to a community, and a prison, a state penitentiary or a federal prison, and who's housed in a county jail, and what happens in a county jail, and what happens in a prison. And this is really an important thing that we're building here for this community, because the people that are housed in this jail are folks that are going to be reintegrated back into our community generally within a matter of days or just a few weeks. These are not people that are going away for a long period of time. And so the services that are provided here, these are people that are going to be back into their homes, back into their jobs, back into their work lives. It's a really critical and important conversation. We hope. But generally they are. And so this is a different conversation. And I think that it's important that people understand that. And so the investment here is different than an investment in a prison or a penitentiary would be. Sorry. Dorsey.
I just want to tell you, thank you for your leadership, Commissioner Boyce, President, Commissioner O'Grady, Commissioner Brown. We really appreciate you guys stepping out and being the forefront here in our community, not only in Franklin County and Columbus, but all of Central Ohio. And a couple other people I want to thank before I make a point here at the end, and then I'll leave the microphones. I know we've had a long morning. Is to use a sports analogy, we always talk sports, Commissioner O'Grady. A lot of people in your staff and in your office are kind of like offensive linemen in the NFL. You don't hear their name unless they mess up. Well, somebody who needs a lot of accolades is Chris Long, and she's probably going to get mad at me for comparing her to an offensive lineman, but she's not prettier than most offensive linemen. But
I'll take it, Dorsey. I'll take it.
Yes, but she did a hell of a job, and she really worked hard to get this done. I appreciate it. I also want to throw a shout out. Getting better at this. Yeah, getting better at this.
As a former offensive lineman, I get it. It's a great compliment.
I also want to thank the prosecutor, Ron O'Brien, for all his hard work coming through this and making sure that everything was good. And I just want to let you guys know that not only are we going to put a quality product out there and it's going to be safe and productive and on time and under budget, it's going to save the county and the taxpayers of Franklin County a lot of money. We're also going to do our best to continue what we have been doing, and that's community outreach and giving people in our community and in this county an opportunity to work on that project. Specific targeting to Latinos, African Americans, and also women. We're seeing more and more women in the trades as they become the breadwinners of their families, and we're going to do that and do everything we can. Last thing I want to say is, with your approval, and I think you will, I'm going to use this as a model. I've had meetings in the last couple of weeks with city council people from 3 suburban cities that want to know what we're doing with the county and why we're doing it. Because when they drive down the street and they see a library, or they see an elementary school, or they see a high school, they don't want to see Michigan, Indiana, and Kentucky license plates.
Mm-hmm.
They want to see people from Grove City working on those projects in Grove City. They want to see people from Hilliard and Dublin working on those projects, including one of the biggest customers in our county, the Ohio State University. I have ongoing conversations with their construction people and their trustees, and they say, what can we do to get more women on our projects? What can we do to get more people in our communities on our projects? What can we do to get more Latinos, African Americans on our projects? You guys have created the formula, and they can steal this, and they can use that, and it'll help us all. So
Right.
thank you for your leadership.
Thank
you so much. Yep.
Mr. Hager, I'm glad you made that point on inclusiveness, and that is one thing, commissioners, under your leadership in looking at this MOU, we should all be proud of the work that's went into this document as it relates to community participation and giving us the goal of having this be truly a community project. When we talk about the goals contained within this memorandum of understanding, we're talking about having a goal that 50% as a goal, a minimum on this project, are residents of Franklin County and the city of Columbus. So that is something that we are proud of, and we're going to be striving to meet the goals contained within this MOU and working so that 20% of the 50 are underrepresented or low-income individuals to tackle issues of wage disparity in our community and giving people solid employment to have dollars to put into the community and put resources in the community. So I thank Labor for their cooperation, and we're looking forward to this project. I think this project really represents, when we talk about the Columbus way, the Franklin County way, our successful collaborations with the public, the private sector, our friends in the labor community, and I'm really looking forward to this being a true civic project. We have the right mindset going into this. So I too want to commend Deputy Administrator Long and Administrator Keena Smith for their efforts, and also again to our friends in the labor community and the prosecutor's office for bringing this forward today for your consideration.
Well, and one other quick thing, Commissioners, as part of what Administrator Wilson just indicated as well, in addition to employment on this project, it also includes being enrolled in or being an apprentice. So you have a pathway into a long-term, meaningful profession, and so we're really looking forward to making sure that those goals are met and can be part of the long-term framework of these types of projects going forward.
Which I think is really terrific. I am thrilled to move for passage of 3/16/17.
I was getting used to it. I hadn't done it in months. I was getting used to it, or years, so I was getting used to it. No, go ahead.
Second. Moved and second in voting. Commissioner Brown?
Yes.
Commissioner Boyce?
Yes.
Commissioner O'Grady?
Yes.
Resolution number 316-17 has been adopted. Resolution number 317-17. Resolution appointing Tony Cunningham, Michael Kenninger, and Kaylin Craig to various Franklin County designated tax incentive review councils and community reinvestment authorities.
Good morning, Commissioners. Eric Janis, Deputy Administrator. Pending any questions, would recommend these new appointments to our various Turks.
Move approval of 3/17/17.
Second.
Moved and second in voting. Commissioner Brown?
Yes.
Commissioner Boyce?
Yes.
Commissioner O'Grady?
Yes.
Resolution number 317-17 has been adopted. Resolution number 318-17. Resolution appointing Keena Smith as a member at large to the Mid-Ohio Regional Planning Commission.
Again, Commissioners, pending any questions, would recommend approval.
Move approval of 3/18/17.
Second.
Moved and second in voting. Commissioner Brown?
Yes.
Commissioner Boyce?
Yes.
Commissioner O'Grady?
Yes.
Resolution number 318-17 has been adopted.
Thank you.
Antoine, are there any journalizations today?
We have two from the Economic Development and Planning Office. Case number ANX-06-17, an expedited Type 2 annexation petition ANX-06-17 was filed with the Franklin County Economic Development and Planning Department on April 26, 2017. The petition is requesting to annex 4.8 acres from Jackson Township to the City of Columbus. The petition will be considered by the Board of Commissioners on May 30th, 2017. Site number Gantz Road, PID number 160-001-005 and 160-001012. Also, case number ANX-07-17, An expedited Type 2 annexation petition, ANX-07-17, was filed with the Franklin County Economic Development and Planning Department on April 26, 2017. The petition is requesting to annex 2.9 acres from Washington Township to the City of Dublin. The petition will be considered by the Board of Commissioners on May 30th, 2017. Site number 7026, Shy Rings Road, PID number 272-000134.
Excellent, thank you. All right, that concludes our business for today. We'll see everybody next week. I guess I'm going to have everybody to the